I honestly believe that the MCU is cooked. They have been announcing, or they've been letting little secrets come out every once in a while that, hey guys, we're reversing course. We're hiring, or I'm sorry, we're firing a bunch of the activists that are out there, and you know what? We're just really gonna get back to basics. We're just gonna get back to telling good stories, and that might be your intention, and I'd totally be on board with that. It's just we've seen the stuff that you've tried to course correct on, and well, here's the thing: the road to hell is paved in good intentions, and guess what? You just simply don't have the ability to tell good stories. You don't have the ability to get back to what made you successful to begin with, and the only thing that you can do to pop a proxy rating is to just jangle a bunch of keys in front of your face. Case in point, okay? You could have done something really interesting with Falcon. You might have even, okay, beyond all hope, told the story of how Falcon becomes Captain America. Couldn't make it work in the comic books. You could have made it work for the silver screen because people generally had a favorable opinion of Falcon. You just didn't really set up anything appropriate for enough people out there to buy the viability of him adopting the shield outside of, oh yeah, you just kind of got it at the end of Endgame, and now all of a sudden everybody in the entire world is telling Falcon how great he is, and he's just going, oh gee golly shucks, I just don't know how I'm going to be able to overcome just, not having the super serum. Even though I have a suit that would end up making Iron Man blush, oh god, I'm just not as augmented as you, Bucky or Steve. Oh my god, I just can't do any of that. But yeah, get excited for his second go round. Well, I guess third if you, also factor in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but nobody remembers that show anyways. Kind of like how in a couple weeks time nobody's going to remember his movie, but everyone is expendable. Anthony Mackie dishes on cliffhanger ending in Avengers Doomsday. Oh my god, is Doom actually going to snap out everybody who was introduced in phases 4 and 5? Is he going to go ahead and annihilate the Kazoo Avengers that are going to show up? Okay, where you have Captain Black Falcon, then you got Simu Liu's goofy ass Shang-Chi. Who else is there? The Latino Falcon, Marvel's Katie, the Young Avengers. Are you just going to go ahead and get rid of that? Because that would be great if everyone is expendable. That would be awesome. Or are we also just going to see Patrick Stewart embarrassed for a fourth time and have Professor X killed off for a third time? God, that'll be so great. I can't wait for that to happen. Don't you screw around with Gandalf, or Magneto in this case. But anyways, Anthony Mackie may be busy promoting his animated sneaker movie, Sneaks. Yeah, because, he needs to be a good example for the black community, so he decides to do a sneaker movie. Whatever, man. But his MCU future is still very much on everyone's mind. Is it really? Particularly in the wake of his casting in Avengers Doomsday, following his turn in Captain America Brave New World. Right. While speaking to Colliders, Michael Zimmerman for Sneaks. Mackie opened up about the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. Imagine that, right? Like, you're getting interviewed for something completely different, and you've got to discuss your previous appearance in a outright bomb. Tell everybody to get excited for you reprising that role that was a financial disaster. Okay. And it sounds like fans should brace themselves for major shocks. Asked about his reaction to reading the script, Mackie was surprisingly open about things, including the fact that we might be getting another ending in the style of Infinity War. Yeah, because the Russos really can't tell any interesting stories except for the same recycled ones over and over again. Oh yeah, we take a look at canonicity in the comics, and well, we just kind of use it as a guideline, really, and we just like to tell our own story. It's kind of like what they've done with everything outside of the MCU. The Electric State, something that cost north of $300 million for Netflix that nobody talks about. Hell, I don't even know if it procced a rating the week that it was out. But that was also an adaptation of a graphic novel that bared no resemblance to the source material. Exactly. Well, outside of just having a couple of notable characters, like the Infinity Saga really didn't end up playing out that way in the books. And well, its conclusion left a lot to be desired because he ended up straying away from the source material and bastardizing it the way that you could, because Infinity War, for as great as it was, and how it did manage to juggle a whole host of characters with unique pairings, can that lightning strike twice? Yeah, I don't think so, bro. And you know what? I was really excited, man. He said, it's one of these stories that really pushes the boundaries, and the cliffhanger at the end, the last moments of the film, it really builds and sets up the way for the continuation of the Marvel saga, which is really exciting. Oh, yeah. Bringing back everybody that you remember is going to end up setting up the future. Cool. All your desperation, please, that's going to end up being what saves the MCU. It's so pathetic. It is so damn pathetic because you guys couldn't do good work to begin with. Phases 4 and 5 are now rightly being appraised as unmitigated disasters, but all of the shills at the time were just clapping on the degradation of this brand. They were thinking, oh my god, this is such peak fire, we're so back. And then a couple of days later, a couple of weeks later, you know, that actually wasn't so good. And then, oh yeah, that was trash. But then restart the cycle whenever a new film hits the theaters, whenever a new show gets shat out on Disney+. This type of toxic positivity leads you to a point where you have to bring back a few 90-year-olds in order to take up screen time and potentially put some asses in seats. Like, Avengers Doomsday is going to be huge, but it could have been even bigger if this was properly being built up to the coming of Doctor Doom. Imagine we knew who the Avengers team would be. Imagine how much more meaningful that would be if you had a properly formed and properly developed Avengers team meeting with those legacy X-Men characters. But no, you just decided that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and tell our own stories. Or if we're going to go ahead and adapt the source material from the comics, we're just going to pick and choose. And then also the ones that we're going to pick and choose are going to come during the time that the comics were tanking their own credibility. The all new, all different era where you had all of the chicks coming in and replacing all of the legacy male roles. And guess what? That was the only thing that you accurately adapted from that run, the financial disaster and the fallout from that. And that's why this Doomsday thing continues to be touted as being, oh, it's a real course correction. It's going to make you remember things. Oh, this is going to positively set up the future. But for the first time in a long time, okay, now you're seeing the comics do a similar thing. And this was honestly a little bit wild because you don't normally see the books do anything this experimental. And if they did, well, it would just be the body positivity versions of that. You would have the Blob in a Speedo being sensually massaged by Colossus. But this time around, okay, reviving the Swimsuit Special 30 years on. They're doing it to prop up the only thing in the Marvel ecosystem that is actually turning a profit. So Marvel Comics announces new Swimsuit Special for the first time in 30 years, the pinup book to tease future Marvel rivals costumes. Yeah, this is where we've gotten to, okay, because Hollywood, okay, the MCU couldn't properly adapt the source material, so now they're making source material for a video game developed by a Chinese company. This is where we're at, huh? Entertainment has never been in a better place. We are so back, peak fire. Bleh. In a revival that admittedly seemed completely out of the question given the current social attitudes towards anything that could be even remotely considered sexy, Marvel Comics has shockingly announced that the first time in 3 decades, and ostensibly in order to bank off the massive success of Marvel Rivals Hero Shooter, yeah, you take a look at some of those costumes, and these make the swimsuit issue look incredibly tame. This summer, we'll see the release of a brand new Marvel Swimsuit Special, and yeah, that's one of the extended covers or something like that. Yeah, one of the variant covers that's out there. So yeah, you got Black Panther, you got Ms. Marvel, you've got, I would imagine that's Steve Rogers, Black Widow on his back. Chick in the foreground doesn't ring a bell, but obviously you got She-Hulk, Tony Stark, and then yeah, Scarlet Witch there as well. And it's like, yeah, no, it's a neat cover, okay? And there's not a ham planet or ugly person to be seen. Staple of the early 90s comic book culture, the Marvel Swimsuit Specials were intended as a parody of the annual Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues. Well, yeah, that makes sense. And delivered exactly what they promised on the cover. Various swimsuit pinups of Marvel's costume heroes and villains, featuring contributions in the range of artists, and including such eventual industry superstars as Adam Hughes, Gary Frank, and Dan Panosian. Okay, the specials depicted not just the publisher's female heroes like Scarlet Witch and Wasp, but also the male ones, including Captain America, Hulk, and the Scarlet Spider. Which, yeah, he's depicted right there. But I don't need to see well-defined abs or anything like that. Like, I'm good. Although this particular type of cheesecake special seemed to have the final nail put into its coffin in the now infamous outrage surrounding Milo Morana's Spider-Woman Volume 5, number 1 cover in a surprising twist. Marvel Comics has surprised even their own reader base at the announcement of Marvel Swimsuit Special Friends, Foes, and Rival. Because is this the official cover art for this? And you know what? Honestly, it's pretty basic, but I do like it, okay? I think it looks damn good. Now, it's not enticing me to buy a book or anything like that, but it's pretty good art, and it's the first time in a long time that comic books and Marvel in particular recognize the audience that they're incredibly successful in driving away, but is also responsible for a vast majority of their sales. So yeah, it's stuff like this that lets you know that Marvel does know their audience. They do know what they want. It's just in some cases, and this is just like, it's going to be a one-off, and then they're just immediately going to go back to those shitty stories that don't sell at all. So while it shows that they know what their audience wants, it also shows you that they're incapable of following up or doing something beyond a sheer gimmick. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.